Oh, do you have any questions for me? Short version, you need to come prepared. You need to research the job. You need to research the people that you will be interviewing with. You need to get a full list, full names, look them up on LinkedIn, Google them, and see what they've written, if anything. And based on that, formulate your questions. So here's what I would do. I would say, research the company and the job so that you're not asking any basic questions. Hey, do you have an office in any other city? You can figure that thing out in advance. Instead, if you ask questions that help you understand what the person's job is, or what their values are, or what makes a candidate successful in that job, that helps much better. So here's what I usually ask in situations like this, and I've seen others ask and be successful. Ask them about their job and their proud accomplishment. That's one. That is, especially with an engineer that perhaps will be your peer or a little bit senior to you in the same team, ask them about, hey, in the last 6 months, what have you shipped that makes you proud? And if they're really struggling with that, imagine yourself in their spot and think whether you're going to be happy there 6 months from now. If on the other hand they say, hey, I shipped this thing and it was just me and another dude and that moved our business by 25%. You have just learned the following things. 1, they get engineers to own things. B, they care about data. 3, this dude is actually excited to work there. Man, that's cool. Okay. Another thing you could ask them is, hey, what have you learned in the past 6 months that you didn't know before? And this could be what have you personally learned on the job, or what have you as a company learned? Again, hesitation there of, we are just executing on our vision, and 6 months from now we will know whether it works or not. 6 months from now they will know that it doesn't work, because the longer it takes to figure that out, the bigger the chance that it doesn't work. That's not a good sign. If on the other hand, the person that's interviewing you, if she, for example, says, we tried this hypothesis, and we were all very excited about it, and it totally failed, that is a good sign. That is a good sign because they try things, that's one. 2, because they're openly speaking about learning, and learning equals failure. That is, unless you fail, you are not able to learn anything. You're just continuing on the same plan, which is really good. They're also talking about what defines success versus failure for them. We tried this experiment, we had a success bar, we have defined it, and that project didn't jump over that bar. That's great. Here's why that's important. A lot of projects that you would do are somewhere in the gray area. Yeah, it kind of moved our business, but not by a lot, and if we invest just another 6 months, it's going to be glorious. That is how you get zombie companies, that at some point run out of money and die. So questions like that also shed a lot of light on the culture. What else would I ask? You could ask the interviewer about their day. Literally, tell me what you did yesterday. It's especially interesting to ask a manager what they've done yesterday. And good signs are them being proactive about things, and bad signs are them firefighting. If they recount yesterday and say, hey, I've had this fire and that fire and that fire and that fire, and then I don't really know where my time went, because I've been trying to put all of those fires out, which happens. This is a sign of a company that's going through a difficult operational time, be it technology or perhaps in terms of their business. If you are constantly in the catch-up mode because there are fires happening, you can't plan at all. And if, on the other hand, a manager is able to say, hey, what I've done yesterday is I talked to one of my employees about their career. That's a sign that they were not in a rush. Good sign. That means that they have time to be thoughtful. One thing I want to leave you with today is this idea that this lean experimentation, this lean startup, agile idea, it doesn't mean that you don't have a vision. It doesn't mean that you aren't thoughtful about the experiments that you're doing. It means that you are humble about your vision. It means that you say, hey, I think we're able to personalize better using data. I think if we give users better content suggestions, they will click better and come back more often. Feels like a pretty powerful vision. And then you state the assumptions that are there, that we can make a better algorithm than others, that we can attract search traffic, that we can work with Facebook, that we can work with content creators and assemble a good team. You list all of those assumptions out there and you start checking them off as quickly as you can. But nevertheless, those little initiatives need to add up to be more than the sum of the parts. And if you come into a company and you ask them what they did yesterday, and it's constant firefighting of, oh, that server was down, and that server was down, and then afterwards this person put a notice and you need to hire somebody else, you don't have time to be thoughtful about things. And in that mode, it's very difficult to stumble upon a business model.
So in that sense, would you say that a good question to ask might be, what are you most excited about achieving in the next 6 months?
Sure, that's a great question. That's a great question. Asking about a plan, asking about their bold bet would be a very good question. And then if you want to really test what their values are, you could say, hey, what bold risk are you currently pursuing? What big initiative are you currently pursuing? And they'll say, we're launching thing X. And then you could say, how will you know whether it's successful or not? And then they'll tell you what it means to be successful or not, hopefully in a quantitative way. And then you can say, when are you going to know? And they might say, when we launch it 6 months from now. Or they might say, hey, we're going to figure it out for assumption number 1 a month from now, assumption number 2 2 months from now. And that's a better sign. So through that, you can probe and understand their culture. Are they about this humble idea of experimentation, or are they executing on a long-term vision? The longer the vision, the worse the chance.